Hey there, welcome back to the lab. This week we're brought to you by OxyClean Baby, powered by the air you breathe, activated by the water you drink. OxyClean Baby.
It's a good thing we're being sponsored by OxyClean Baby this week because we're going to be talking about one of the messier aspects of fatherhood. And this is one they don't tell the expecting young doodad.
Yes, dads know about dirty diapers, of course, blowout diapers, they're a disaster. But this other kind of mess you only find out about at the baby shower when you start getting as presents all these blankets and cloths, and you turn to your wife and you say, hey, what's that?
And she says, that's burp cloth.
And you think to yourself, you know, except for a couple of times in college, I don't generally need a cloth when I burp.
And that's what they don't tell you. Babies are barfing machines.
Now, let's get one thing perfectly clear. Babies do not yak. Babies do not barf. Babies do not vomit. Babies spit up.
If you tell your wife that the baby puked on the couch, she's gonna get upset. But if you tell her the baby spit up on the couch, she'll say, oh, isn't that cute?
Now, why do babies erp up all the time? And erp up is actually an acceptable alternative to spit up. To find out why, we asked pediatrician and author, Dr. Ari Brown.
Well, your gastrointestinal tract, which is the part that digests your food, is just one big tube, okay? And so you've got an esophagus that then attaches to your stomach. And in babies, there's a muscle between the esophagus and the stomach that's very loose when they're first born, and it tightens up usually around 6 months of age. And so while that muscle is still kind of loose, the milk will go down, and then the milk can very easily come right back up. Once it gets thicker and tighter, just like adults, the food doesn't keep slishing and sloshing up and down. So all babies spit up to a certain degree. If you have a particularly spitty baby, there are some maneuvers that you can do to minimize the amount of stuff that's coming up. So first of all is trying to keep your baby as upright as possible for about 15 or 20 minutes after a feeding. So it's probably not a good idea to go play helicopter with your baby right after a feeding because you're gonna see the food come right back at you. So it's a bad idea. So keeping them upright, keeping them calm, not putting them right down to lay down because the symptoms are gonna be worse when a baby's lying horizontally.
Even when a dad can't feed, a dad can burp, so to speak. Burping is an area of dadded value. Make sure you spread that cloth on your shoulder as wide as possible. But no matter what you do, spit up is going to happen.
Compared to the upchuck at later stages of development, spit up is relatively innocuous. You know, it just looks like this white, watery, anyway, you get the picture. Don't be fooled by the appearance. If you succumb to temptation and just rub that stuff in, you're gonna be rewarded with some nice brownish, yellowish stains all over the onesies and bibs, which may not bother you that much, but your wife is gonna say something like, you can't wear that, and go buy a bunch of new clothes. Save yourself some money. Get a little Oxy, bang, hit that stain, throw it in the washing machine, no stains.
Which brings up the question, you're all dressed for work in the morning and you're helping out burping the baby and boom, you get tagged with a little spit up right there. What do you do?
Well, clearly changing is a terrible idea because that spit up, that's a badge of honor.
You want people to see that you help out.
Exactly, that's a badge that you want everyone to see. You want to set an example for the next generation of dads to get spit up on them.
Yeah. And when you get home, you put some OxyClean on to save the dry cleaning bill, but wear it proud.
You know, I read somewhere that being perceived as a good dad can actually help you in your career. So I was thinking if you don't get spit up on, you know, maybe you want to get some yogurt or cottage cheese or something, just a little dab.
Well, that's all for us here this week in the lab. Make sure you go to DadLabs.com and get registered on the community site, and you will be eligible to win a great giveaway this week, which is...
This week we're giving away 5 of the OxyClean Baby Care Kits, and these are cool because you get 2 1.5-pound tubs of the baby stain soak and 2 of the 22-ounce bottles of the baby stain remover. We're gonna give away 5 of those kits, and to be eligible, all you have to do is create a profile. We're gonna pick 5 profiles from the community, and those guys are gonna get the kits. So get on the community at DadLabs.com and get registered for a cool gift.
It's like 100 pounds.
It's not, it's 22 ounces and 22 ounces.
And
That's
carry the 2, 4, 5.